Right, it's Joe. Welcome back. If you haven't been here before, welcome to the channel where we check out photography, check out post-production on our images, and you teach me something, I try and teach you something, and we go on a bit of a journey together. Today we're going to be looking at how we can make the colour within our images a bit more vibrant and a bit more enhanced, and we're going to be doing that using a picture of an eye. So, we're in Photoshop, we've got an image here, this is the basics, so it's only a small tip tutorial kind of thing, and it shouldn't take too long. This image has already been edited, forgive me, sorry, but it is just in its JPEG form, exported and then brought back into Photoshop, and this is just for demonstration purposes. So we're going to start by adding a new layer. You can do that with this icon down here, or you can just shortcut with Shift and then Alt Control N, or if you're on Mac, I think I'm getting this right, Shift Option Command N. Pretty sure that's what it would be on Mac. And then to stamp the original image on the new layer, just Shift Control Alt E. And then obviously if that was on Mac, that would be Shift Command Alt E. I haven't used a Mac in a while, so forgive me. Oh well. Okay, so we've got a new layer here, and the reason for that is by having the effects on separate layers, it enables us to go back and edit certain parts we do or don't want if we look back and think we want to change something. Whereas if we just did it all on one layer and you wanted to change something 5 or 6 steps ago, you'd have to get rid of everything in between now and then to redo that. Whereas like this, you can just hop back in to wherever you want to adjust and go and do that. So okay, we've got this essentially 2 of this image, and we're going to adjust this. So let's get the lasso tool, which is up here on the left, and I'm just going to zoom in using Control or Command plus, and we are focusing just on the iris and the pupil, but you could just do the iris. Okay, so we've got the lasso tool, we've zoomed in, and we just want to select essentially the iris and the pupil here. So to do that, I've got my lasso tool, I'm just going to trace around the outside. It doesn't have to be spot on, try not to go too off the rails, but it should be okay really, as long as you get a decent rough outline. And then cut on the inside of the eyelashes. Again, doesn't have to be spot on, as long as it's somewhat there, the general shape, that should be fine. Okay, and now we've got that selected, you can zoom out if you like, Control or Command minus, Control or Command plus to go back in. In the bottom right here, we're just going to create a new adjustments layer, and the adjustments I'm looking for is curves. So let's drop in curves. And then if we want to brighten this up, we're on RGB here. Let's just gently bump it up. And you can just see how that subtly makes a bit of a difference. If we zoom out, you can see how the eyes start to get brighter. If I go crazy, it goes crazy. Looks a bit much. We can just gently bump up the brightness, and if I turn that off and on, you can see the difference it's made already. Now to incorporate the colour in there, so this is the colour we started with and we've just made it a bit brighter. Let's say we want to make it more blue or more red. Don't know why you'd want it red, maybe you're just going for like something that's obviously fake, or green, or a combination. In this drop down menu here, pick the colour you want. Let's go with blue. And then I'm going to zoom back in just so I get a bit more of a close up. And now we can see we've got this line here. Similar with the RGB line, just bump it up if you want it more intense, drop it down if you don't. Obviously you can do things like making an S curve or whatever, things like that, but today we're just going to push it up a bit. So just subtly do that. Now you can see how it's begun, should I say, to get more blue. If I make that invisible, you can see the difference we've got going on there. Again, if we want, I'm going to undo this, but if we wanted it to be green, we can just bump that. Obviously that's overboard, but you can see the effect it has, and you can see how you can go about getting the effects you would like on your image. So I didn't really want the green, so we'll drop that back down. Okay, so that's cool. We've got a nice blue, crazy looking eye, but it's obvious that there's not, obviously we can all tell it's been adjusted, but there's a line around the outside of the iris that is clear, we can see, and that's where the lasso tool went. So to sort of make this a bit more smoothed out, select your brush tool, which is this one here, or you can just B for the shortcut, and then I'm going to zoom in, and we're just going to gently, I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller, which is Alt or Option, right click, and then drag that left or right, and then just trace around the outside, or brush around the outside should I say, and then you can slowly start to see it just amalgamate into the whites of the eyes. You might need to go back and forth over it a bit, and yes, it does create a bit of a white outline, but what you can then do, if you just bear with me, probably should have made that smaller, but oh well, this is just a demo. Brush a bit smaller, we can see this white outline, but if we just want to paint, it will have a subtle but nonetheless effective way of just blending that into the rest of the eye without it looking too ridiculous. Again, we can do that here, just blending that through. Now the eye does look quite white, but obviously depending on the brush you use, that will determine that. So it's up to you really, you can mess around with this. Just going to brush that, paint that over a bit more. And then if we zoom out, whoa, that's just a normal eye, right? Well, obviously we know it isn't, but it's blended together, the colours are vibrant, they pop more, it's much more enhanced, it's a much more interesting image at the end of the day. And if I just group these, so shift and then click to select them both, and then control or command G to group them, and I'll just zoom out and then make them invisible or visible, you can see the difference we've made. And that just makes the image so much more interesting really. Makes it a little bit strange looking. We've got a bit of a lens flare in there. To get rid of that, you could use the clone stamp tool. Check out my video on the clone stamp tool to get rid of that. And yeah, we've got a much more interesting looking eye. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you could take a few things from it. If you want to leave me a comment, leave me some tips, I'll get back to you. We can have a bit of a conversation down there. Like I mentioned, that's what this channel's about really. Just more about progression, not me telling you everything I know, because I don't know everything under the sun. Thank you very much for watching, I really do appreciate it. If you want to join on this journey, on this progression, why not subscribe? I mean, no one's judging, but why not? Thank you very much. Check out my socials, they're at Shots from Joe, or you can just see the links below in the description, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Thanks.